All month long, KRON 4 has been honoring those in the Hispanic community as we tell their stories and how they have such an amazing impact on the world around us. And next Thursday, we're airing a special in honor of Hispanic heritage. And joining us now with a preview is KRON 4's Ella Sogomonian. Ella, thank you so much for joining us.
Olivia, I'm so excited to finally be here. I love what you've been doing with this show. I think it's such an incredible platform for the community, the pillars in our community, as well as the small businesses, to really give them an opportunity to tell people what they do. So thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited.
Of course. Well, we are so excited to have you. And I just have to say really quickly, did you wear the pink on purpose? Because you look great on set.
You know, I came here ready for Live in the Bay.
Well, listen, KRON 4 has been highlighting Hispanic heritage all month long, but nobody knows better than you. How has KRON 4 been doing that?
Well, you know, as a California girl, I am Armenian, but I grew up in a predominantly Latino community, so it's been a real pleasure to be able to tell some of the stories from our community here in the Bay Area specifically. We've been highlighting a variety of different people, both living and also historical figures. I actually stumbled upon one character from San Francisco, a Bolivian-American artist who started out in humble beginnings. He came from Bolivia in order to study art and then eventually got a job as a dishwasher. Of course, he had to make ends meet. And this was a really fascinating story because I went to the Palace Hotel just to have brunch with my mom, and as a curious reporter that I am, I ended up leaning into a portrait of his, and I figured, who is this guy? I want to know more. And it said that he was discovered by the owner of the hotel when he was a dishwasher doodling in between work.
Wow.
And I thought that that was so fascinating, and that people didn't really know about this person anymore. Although he was popular at the time in the 1920s, he was lesser known today. And so I figured, let's do a profile. There's a lot of art out there, as we just saw, that is still alive and well and available for people to see. So that's the first story that we've aired so far.
Well, actually, I'm so glad that you mentioned that, because you said an individual that you stumbled upon, and we're actually going to get a chance right now to be able to see who that was. So let's take a look at the preview.
The iconic Grace Cathedral in San Francisco is a piece of art in and of itself. But inside, you'll find another impressive work of art, a 30-panel mural depicting historical events like the 1906 fire, which burned most of the city to the ground. Cathedral archivist Michael Lampin was acquainted with the Bolivian-born artist Antonio Sotomayor.
A very urbane gentleman with a Bolivian accent, which he never lost. A very committed artist. And I think his early years in Bolivia formed his art very strongly.
The mural was masterfully painted with acrylic on linen in Sotomayor's home, just a stone's throw away on Nob Hill. The painter, sculptor, and illustrator immigrated to San Francisco in 1923. As a young man, Sotomayor got a job as a dishwasher at the historic Palace Hotel to make ends meet while attending the Hopkins Institute of Art.
So the story goes, Antonio, on his 5th day as a dishwasher, dropped the dishes and instead left the kitchen. He took a seat in the lounge and sketched whatever came to his imagination. Well, his doodling caught the attention of his boss, who eventually helped launch him into San Francisco's high society art scene.
2 more of his murals are still proudly on display in the hotel's Pied Piper Lounge, portraying notable and eccentric characters, including literary luminaries Mark Twain and Bret Hart, as well as the self-proclaimed Emperor of the United States, Morton.
His skills as an artist were soon found out by the owner, Janet Johnson, and she said, "You are so good at drawing things. Could you do something for the palace?" And that's what he did. He painted another painting that we have in our promenade for her to commemorate the 75th anniversary of the original hotel.
Sotomayor went on to gain notoriety and was invited to serve as San Francisco Arts Commissioner in the 1940s and 50s.
It's just a tribute to, if you work hard and you have the right attitude, great things can happen.
For many years, another sizable piece of his, which he is said to have described as the most challenging project of his career, was housed on Treasure Island, a terracotta sculpture 50 feet wide, titled The Fountain of the Pacific, created for the Golden Gate International Exhibition World's Fair in 1939. But the fountain, symbolizing unity across the Pacific Ocean, was broken up into smaller parts and has been tucked away out of sight for decades. Treasure Island Museum Vice President Anna Schnoblin has been captivated by its grandeur and symbolism since she laid eyes on it in 1991. She explains that Sotomayor made the fountain with the impression it would be on permanent display. Instead, its dissected parts lie in an abandoned hangar away from public view. So she continues on her mission to restore the fountain to its full glory.
It seems like everything here is in a permanent state of disarray. I mean, when you see the island is all torn up and covered with piles of dirt, and we know that eventually it's going to be a beautiful redevelopment. And I can certainly see why this fountain should be part of that redevelopment.
Sotomayor came a long way from Chulumani, Bolivia. At the height of his career, his work was exhibited worldwide. He died of cancer at 82 years old in 1985. Sotomayor had no children but left behind artwork that will hopefully be enjoyed for generations to come.
I love that last shot. We got a nice little shot of you, sitting there talking about the art. Why was it so special for you to be able to tell this story?
Well, I personally love to educate people about history. San Francisco is so rich in so many stories. Of course, as we are making new ones today, there are so many that we should revisit from the past. And as I mentioned, Antonio didn't have any children, so I wonder if that played a factor why we haven't heard of him more so today. So it was such a treat for me to come across his story and be able to share it with everyone.
Yeah, it really is such a treat as journalists to be able to share other people's stories out there. That's why we're here. So amazing that you were able to do that. Now, other individuals here at KRON 4 have been sharing wonderful stories for Hispanic Heritage Month all month long. Another one I would love to touch on, a Peruvian truck out here, a big story that our KRON 4 Camilla was actually able to talk about. Tell us a little bit about the background of that story.
That's right. So our host for Hispanic Heritage Month is Camila Barco. She is of Peruvian descent. So she was able to find someone from her own community to highlight. So this woman actually overcame debilitating health condition in order to make her American dream come true and bringing the Peruvian cuisine to the Bay Area in the form of this food truck. It's called Yo Soy Ceviche. So I'm really excited to learn more about her come-up story and how she's been helping out the community by serving them this delicious meal.
And Camila also was able to tell a story about a baseball player that just was just now recently playing with the Oakland A's, correct?
That's exactly right. Camila's been busy with this.
She has been.
Well, there's a lot of pride there, right?
Yeah,
a lot of Latino orgullo. And so Camila was able to meet with the latest addition. I would say he's fairly new to the Oakland A's, a Colombian baseball player, really young, 22 years old. So we're going to get to know a little bit more about him. She did a sit-down interview, and so I'm really excited to learn about his history and how he feels about coming to the Bay Area.
Yeah, me too. The Bay Area is just so beautiful. Another story that we actually were able to see here on this show, Taylor Bisacki did a wonderful story about a Mexican-American owned wine and vineyard out here in the Bay Area. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, this one really strikes a chord with me. I started reporting actually at the U.S.-Mexico border and specifically was covering agricultural stories. And so when you think of who's toiling the soil in those fields, a lot of times it is Mexican or Latinos. And so for them to be able to come up to the North Bay and go from working in the fields to owning their own wineries, Taylor Bisacki will be introducing us to 5 different Mexican-American vintners and their stories as well on how they became the business owner and are able to now be the winemakers themselves and introduce us to their labels.
Which is so incredible out here in the Bay Area because we love wine out here.
Absolutely.
So to be able to highlight that for Hispanic Heritage Month is so lovely. Now on the entertainment side of things, Cheech Marin, everybody loves Cheech Marin. We all know who he is.
Personal favorite of mine. Personal favorite of mine. I mean, I'm a Los Angeles kid, born and raised, and this is a true Hollywood story.
Yeah.
And what's really fascinating in this particular piece is that Cheech goes into specifically what it means to be a Chicano. So the difference between being a Mexican American, and a Chicano. So he really defines that for us in a very succinct way, and also goes into detail about where his moniker comes from, Cheech, which I didn't know until I watched this story, even though I grew up watching him on TV and in movies. So I'm really excited for people to get to know a little bit more about him as well.
Me too, and I actually also did not know where the monochrome name came from until I watched the piece
Really?
as well. Yeah.
Were you just surprised? It's so cute.
It's so cute.
It's adorable. We're not going to give it away. Yeah, you got to stay tuned.
Well, thank you so much for joining us here on Live in the Bay and giving us a little bit of highlight of all the wonderful things that KRON 4 is doing to highlight Hispanic Heritage Month. Ella.
We are honored to do that. So thank you so much, Olivia, to you for allowing us to tell people a little bit more about it.
Of course. For more great stories honoring Hispanic Heritage Month, we'll have a link on KRON4.com. And to catch our Hispanic Heritage Special, it'll be next Thursday night at 6:30 right here on KRON 4. Coming up, I think you're going to like this one, Ella. You said you're Armenian, right?
That's right, and I'm super excited because this weekend we're going to have the Armenian Food Festival happening in Oakland, and your next guest will be telling us all about it. So